High school is supposed to be about new beginnings, friendships, and finding your path. But what happens when your world shatters? Losing someone you love at that age can kind of leave you in a hole deep. It feels like you never climb out. But, what if that pain could become like your greatest source of strength? What if it could help you push forward towards something that only saves you, but transform you entirely? What's up, everyone? This is Fit for Business with me, Jared Lane. Welcome to episode 74. Joining me on today's episode is our friend Rob Bastide. Rob, welcome to the podcast, sir.
Hey guys, thanks for having me, Jared.
Absolutely. Looking forward to speaking with you, chopping it up. And I was just hoping maybe you could, tell, our listeners, viewers, something a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do.
Sure. My name is Rob Badstein. I'm a coach and owner and director of training at Athletic Strength Club in Monroe, New York. We're like a small fitness studio. Work with about 105 people, helping athletes and adults train, get more fit, and optimize their health. Ideally, get them more mobile, more athletic, all that stuff.
Hey man, 100 members, at plus 100 plus members is not something small. So, let's, talk it up about yourself here, man. So I know, starting off that like beginning monologue was a little deep to start with, but I think it was a good place. And if you're cool with it, I kind of wanted to, speak more about that. The tragedy that might have, occurred when you were younger. Um, I know obviously it was somebody that was very super close to you for the right reasons. As we know, back in high school, you lost someone very close to you. For those of you who personally know you well and have known you for a long time, and maybe for people that aren't familiar with your story, would you mind sharing it with us? And like what happened? You don't have to get into the specifics. You let me know.
Sure. Well, when I was 17, spring of my senior year, I remember waking up. I don't know. My dad woke me up super early, and I just remember him saying, "Rob, your sister was in a car accident. She's dead." I'm like, just being like shocked. Like, I mean, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like, "What?" And he's like, he woke up my brother too, and then like, I don't know. The rest of that day's really a blur, to be honest. I remember after a few hours, like people coming over, but me going to track practice and just being like, I don't know. Coach was like, "All right, we're doing this workout." I was like, I can't work out today.
Now, was your sister older or younger than you?
Yeah, she was 25 years old at the time, or 24 years old at the time. Excuse me. She was 7 years older than me.
So what year was she born?
Uh, Math? I don't know. 74, 77,
Let me
77.
say, okay, so she was 2 years older than me.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, so she graduated in '95, probably
96.
90. Oh, okay, 90. So you're right behind me. Got
Yeah,
about that. Yeah. So,
I
and
think 96. Maybe it was 95, but yeah, something like
doesn't matter. Either way.
that.
Yeah, it
Around.
was at that time frame. And was it like just her like involved in that car accident? Or was there anybody else that was involved at the accident too?
There was, yeah, I don't think she was driving. I think we heard a friend of hers was driving. She had moved to Florida, so she had been living in Florida for like 2 years, I think, at the time.
Oh, happening down
Uh,
in Florida.
yeah, down in Florida. And they were, I mean, they were out partying on some island, so we're assuming, I mean, either she was drunk and her friend was drunk or they were both drunk, but I don't know. Somebody behind them said it looked like they reached for something and then swerved the steering wheel,
Mm,
hit the side rail, and flipped the car over completely. And the other girl was taken to the hospital in critical condition, but my sister died right away.
mm. And then you said that was your senior year,
Yeah,
right?
senior year. Yep.
What was like
Yeah, it was spring of senior year
what was
after
like the
track.
rest of the year like for you? Just like a blur? Do you like even remember
Definitely.
graduating?
I don't even know. I mean, like I remember, but yeah, I feel like everything was pretty fuzzy.
Yeah.
It's just
And like did
emotional. Not sure how to cope with my emotions. I mean, a little before that too. My parents were splitting up like a few months before that, so it was like kind of like a double whammy. Um,
Oh, your parents had just split up around that time, like before that.
yeah, they just split up like a few months before. Um,
So that's a lot of weight to fall on the shoulders of a high school senior, whether you were I don't know if you were 17 or 18 at the time,
yeah, still 17, but yeah.
17, and now like looking back then, like how do you think did that have a major like were you planning on going to college? Did you go to college? Like refresh my memory.
Yeah, I was supposed to run D1 at Binghamton University, and like I still went there, but I don't know. Well, I definitely messed up a few things. I was supposed to do something where I go to school early and go to like a camp with the other cross country and track kids, but for some reason I couldn't do that. I don't even remember what it was, but there was some form I didn't fill out or something. I don't know, but I didn't end up going there, and then yeah, obviously I was a mess for the summer and going there. Yeah, ended up just not even running or doing anything.
Yeah, so you like, kind of like impacted you in a sense where you kind of just like the tragedy like prevented you from like maybe at the time fulfilling what you could have done really well because it's obviously I know you personally, I know you were a very solid, runner, all
Hmm.
around. Um,
Yeah, absolutely, man.
at what point for yourself did you like come to like, hey, I gotta like kind of like try to like get my life back? Like, were you still in college? Was it like later in life? Like,
That was so long. I pretty much like medicated with weed and alcohol for like years,
Hmm.
just like numb myself. I wouldn't say every day. I wasn't a full blown like daily drinking person. I still kind of ran or got back into running relatively frequently after my freshman year of college. Or freshman year of college was just like way too much drinking, smoking.
So you're still in college at this point when you got back
Um,
into running.
no, no, I didn't get back into running till I started to run a little bit when I was like 19 or 20, and
Oh,
like
okay. I'm sorry.
kind of part of what just kept me from being a complete drunken mess. Um, but I would say I didn't really start to pull myself together till like maybe 23. Um,
That's still. I feel like that's
even
still fairly not much time has passed still at being that young an age for something like that tragic to happen in your life. I mean, listen, I can attest to it. Like I lost my mom when I was like 19, and
yeah,
yeah, I mean, we can go down that rabbit hole, but like I like fell down like a terrible path for like I don't know, well more than a decade and a half of like doing the
mhm,
same things you're mentioning about. But at least you're in college, I guess, if that makes it easier or better because it's like I wouldn't say it's more accessible, but like when you go to a college, that's what everybody thinks about. You party like every day,
sure.
except
Yeah, most of my friends were going to class more than me. They
yeah,
were
yeah,
packing.
exactly. I
I
went to
was just like,
college. I went to like community college here, in OCC, if anybody's familiar, Orange County Community College. But like, I went to college to like hang out. I didn't like go to school. It wasn't until
yeah,
like I was 25 and went back to college. I got my associate's degree in computer science and networking. But even still, at that point, I was still like a lost soul. Um, and that's kind
yeah,
of what I wanted to touch on, right? So I feel like there comes a point in time, like for everybody, me particularly, but like for you, like where you're like, hey, I feel like this lost soul, and like whether you meet somebody or you're in a relationship or you just like wake up one day and just like, yo, I gotta get like my shit together and I can't continue to go down this path, or I'm just I'm gonna grow old, or maybe I'm not gonna
mm,
grow old anymore. I'll cease to exist.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I think that's part of why I was kind of reckless for a while because like part of me was just like, well, I mean, if I could die any day, what's the point of trying to do anything? Um, and like that was like the worst. And then at some point, you're kind of like, yeah, I'm still here. But
it's
I mean, I started dating a girl, and I feel like I pulled myself a little bit together from that.
now it's not funny. I wasn't trying to smile when you said it because that's not something to be happy or smile about. But you just hit kind of a nail on the head with your comment because I can like
Hmm.
strongly vibe with what you're saying. Like, right, there's like when you lose somebody at like at an early age, a sibling, a sister, a mom, a dad, whatever, somebody that's really close to you. You just said the same thing that I felt all those years. It was like, hey, I'm not gonna live till I'm 21. I'm not gonna live till I'm 22, and so on and so on. And every year went by, and I'm not going to say it right here, right now, but I've had some damn close calls. Where I'm just like, how am I, knock on wood, that I'm still here, like
Yeah.
as a whole, like somebody or was watching over me, my talk about having a guardian angel, but that feeling is real, man. That
Hmm.
is like a real deep instinctively feeling that like, hey, I could die at any moment. Like, who the fuck cares about how I treat my body, type of thing.
Yeah. That's it. But it's a terrible way to think. It's the
It's
only
a
way out of
horrible
that.
way to think. So
Yeah.
how did you snap out of that?
I don't fully know. Like, I'm not sure 100% that there was a moment. I vaguely have a memory of like a moment driving somewhere where like I looked up at the sky and just like felt like Danielle was watching me, and like that was my sister's name, and like I felt a little bit better that day. I remember that. But otherwise, I don't know. I started dating a girl. I was like, oh, I gotta work. I got a job. I started working, and I just made sure to get to work every day. Or I got like a more real job, construction job in a factory. But was doing that. Was working overtime, trying to make money, trying to fix my car.
Mm,
And her mom gave me a shot at a sales job. I was like, I think you might be able to do this, and I feel like that was definitely a big part of it because like I didn't want to mess that up. I was like, okay, I have an opportunity here to do something. Um, it's a decent sales job. If I'm good at it, I can make $90,000, $100,000 a year.
right.
Um, so like, I
Because
think
you're in
that
your mid-20s at this point.
yeah, I was probably 24, 25, around then. No, I was 23. Yeah, I was 23 years old when I
Okay.
started that job. So still approaching mid 20s. Because yeah, well, while I was at that job, I lost my dad too when I was 25. So that was like just started recovering, and then had that happen, which
Mm,
threw things off a little bit more. But I was in a better spot at that point, and I wasn't gonna ruin everything the way I did before.
mm. Yeah, I mean, you're in a, like a you weren't like not saying you weren't in a dark place, but you weren't in necessarily such a dark place where you were going to kind of go down that hole again. Now,
Yeah,
this might be
I had
like
my
this might be like a long shot of a question. I don't know if it hits home with you or not. Like, do you think the industry that you serve now and you do it so well for people, do you think fitness saved your life?
uh, to some extent. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it kept me from going further down the hole because like you can't drink and run, and you can't drink and lift, and I still kind of I worked out a little bit, and it's like I can't drink or smoke until after I drink and lift or whatever. So I wasn't doing anything until that stuff got done. I still want to stay fit and stay in shape.
Hmm.
So I think that was a big important part.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think that was also a part like later in life when I started to get myself a little more together. Like I started running again more frequently, and then I decided I want to start racing again. So I started to do some more competitive things, and yeah, my
Hmm.
performance has always been important to me. So like obviously you can't be dabbling in alcohol or marijuana when you're trying to race. Maybe marijuana.
I mean, yeah, I mean, listen, I know a lot of people that do it. I don't knock people for, continually doing it, whether like
Yeah,
someone like myself, as you know, I no longer drink and I know we've had the conversation many
yeah,
times. Like,
yeah. I don't do anything anymore.
it's just for my health, it's better for me all around. Right. So,
Yeah,
you are, from what I know and what I see, like one of like, profoundly one of the top like trainers in, the greater Orange County market, just like with your knowledge and like what you do. Um, Having athletic strength club and like owning your establishment, your club, right? Do you feel like you're in this industry today because of what happened to you in the past, like kind of like, all right, now this is my time, my turn to give back to the community and give back to people to help shape their lives, make them feel better, make them look good, get them well, and so forth.
because of like what happened to my sister kind of deal, or
I'm just saying, just in general, like like we all walk a path, right, so to speak.
yeah.
So I'm saying, like, hey, do you think you walked your path and you got to like where you were, and now like you do this based off of like everything that led up to you owning your gym?
I mean, yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, being in the sales world gave me, well, one, I used to be super shy, so forget about talking or I'm going to be on a podcast, definitely not. Um, but used to be super shy, so talking to people in this type of situation or running a group class was
Yeah.
like a nightmare to even think about that. So I think that sales job opened me up to just having to reach out and get uncomfortable or be comfortable being uncomfortable, especially chatting with people in large rooms or over the phone, people you don't know that
Mm,
are very high level CEOs, CFOs. Like I used to talk to people like that. I also think fitness, yeah, is part of what saved me from going too far down a bad path. Um, and I also think being fit and being healthy is, I mean, it makes life better. Like, and I think a lot of people drink and do drugs because their lives are somewhat boring and they're not doing, like, they make, those things make boring things more fun. So, like, if you're not doing much, like, drinking makes sitting around a lot more fun
sure.
than just sitting there without the alcohol. So it's like, if you're fit and you're active and you're healthy and you can find activities to do, like you're going to make your life more interesting. You're going to be less apt to do these things that are not necessarily
Mm,
great for you. There's other ways to have fun, and I think I'm trying to build a place that creates fun and also creates healthy, happy people and people that go out and explore the world and do cool things.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So obviously, athletic strength club. I know personally, it's not like your first, go at entrepreneurship, running your own, gym or just running your own business. Previously, for anybody that knows you in the area, let's say the Greater Monroe market, knows you were affiliated with another gym at one point. Um,
Mhm.
and I kind of wanted to talk about like your experience, like first time as like a true entrepreneur, because I would say at that time, I guess you can beg to differ if it was or it wasn't, where you were, I guess part of an owner, right? Ownership, you were part owner. I don't know what the percentage was. Um,
Yep.
Now, I personally know because I know you, things went sideways and went a little sour.
Mhm.
The gym was doing significantly well, what I can remember, prior to COVID. You guys had a lot of growth. You were getting your footing in the Monroe market, getting a lot of members. I don't know what the extent of how many members you had at that point in time. Um,
Mhm.
and then, one day I came to learn, hey, so and so is no longer with the facility anymore. I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean? What happened? And, I guess for what I'm getting to is like, this is your first taste of entrepreneurship. You have this percentage of ownership, things are going well. I guess what can you tell people like if you're going to go into business with, friends, go into business with partners, go into business with anybody outside of yourself, like, A, should you be wary? B, should you do it? C, if you're gonna do it, what are the steps you should take to protect your assets and yourself? Like, can you share any of
Mhm.
that information?
Yes. Yeah, you should definitely be wary. I mean, look, it's difficult to think about. Like, as some people said to me, it's like a marriage. But at the time, I wasn't married either. So, did I know what a marriage was like? No.
Mm,
And you have to be married. I think if you were going to do it, one, I think you should have been married for at least 5 to 10 years, so you have an idea what a long duration relationship can be like. I think you need to communicate, but I think none of us are really that good at communication, or very few of us are good at it. Right, getting ahead of things.
mm,
I think you need to be comfortable with being with uncomfortable conversations. I think you need to think ahead about problems that could be arising, and you need to confront people about those problems well in advance before those problems arise, or as soon as they're starting to bother you even a little
mm.
bit. You can't you can't say or justify things in the back of your head. Things are going to be okay. Oh, he's just doing this, or she's just doing this, or whatever. Right? You need to hop right out front and be like, okay, I see this issue coming. I'm having a little bit of a struggle with this. So I think another difficulty is that with that is you already need to have a good grasp of yourself, who you are, what you believe in, what's important to you, what are your values,
Sure.
and you and your partner align on those values, right? If you don't have, if you're not aligned in all these values, you're going to run into issues, and this is probably the first thing you should really define: is what are your personal values, and is your business going to follow those personal values?
Can you say today that your values did not align with this person's values, and then you were like, "Oh shit, I didn't realize this," or you knew this and you still went ahead with it? Or you thought their values were similar and then you found out later that they were different than yours? Is that kind of like you could say happened, or is that not the same thing?
Uh, yeah, to some extent.
Hmm,
I would say maybe values didn't align, or it felt like they aligned more than they did, and
understood.
perhaps they weren't quite the same.
And now,
You know?
as like a form of protection at the time, I don't know if you did, but did you and your partners have like some type of like partnership agreement, like on paper and pen, like cross your T's and dot
On
your I's?
paper, but unsigned, which was a big problem. We had one written down, but we never got it filled out. I don't think we did enough with lawyers to review that and really square that away. But I also think it's difficult when you have a new business because you don't know exactly what your responsibilities are going to be for each person, and
Accountability level?
yeah, accountability. Like in a sense, a partnership agreement should have all right, roughly designated responsibilities. Um, what's going to happen? What's going to happen when you get married and you've got somebody else who has input and or whatever significant other, and they're going to have input with that person, right? There's going to be influence, no matter what. Whoever you're married to is going to influence you, right? So now, in a sense, you have a four-person partnership if you think about that. And what happens if something bad happens to your partner? What happens if your partner gets addicted to drugs, or what if he goes down a bad path and he gets into alcohol? Like, what do you do in your business in that situation? Like, there's
Hmm.
so many things that can happen in life that you don't think about that probably aren't in your partnership agreement that should be in your partnership agreement. And this is really the big difficulty with a partnership. Unless it's like your wife, where you're already a partner.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe. good business partner for you.
I
But
agree with you, but I think for me, being the outside party looking in, like I feel like having some type of partnership agreement or something documentation that you could, even build off of. Like maybe you don't have everything right away, but like that's one way to protect your ass. That's in a sense
Mhm.
where you're kind of like, all right,
Sure.
well, Rob and Jared going into business together. For me, I would be like outlining everything from A to Z, and maybe I've left some stuff out, but in there we say, hey, well, we can add in like an addendum or some shit. So you're just
Yeah.
basically saying, hey, Rob's protecting himself, Jared's protecting himself. God forbid something happens down the road,
Yeah.
kind of go from
Yeah.
there. I got to,
Addendum would be key because the problem is you can't always. Yeah. There's some things you may not think about until later.
oh
But
yeah, 1,000%. So how do you feel being a dad has changed your perspective or outlook on life?
makes me think more about the long game. I'm old. Makes me think about how old I am in one sense because like this kid's gonna be 20, I'm gonna be 60.
I got more time on you, pal.
Yeah, but it's just like, all right, am I gonna be able to keep up with this kid when I'm 60 years old? I'd like to go do things with him and hike and check out the world and do fun things. And yeah, I don't want to be too old. So that's a big thing. But also time. I mean, I've got a gym, I've got a business, I've got a family, I've got a kid. I want to spend as much time with him as I can. He's only young for so long, but I also want to see my business grow, and I want to see, I want to see us make an impact on people.
Mm,
So finding balance is tough. It's really helpful having coaches that are great people and supportive and helpful, and having a wife who's super supportive and helpful. But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is just thinking about time and how little we really have.
mm.
Um,
So
and so why I think what I do is super important. Like I don't think people think about that enough. That like your health can go away at any time, and you don't just want to live to be old. Like you want to be as young as you can for as long as you can. So that's the goal.
yeah, no, I agree with you, man. Like, and like, I know this may sound cliche or corny when, like, whether you're hearing me now or like when my viewers hear this or our viewers hear, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube. But like,
Hmm.
for me, and I honestly will say I came to this like conclusion or epiphany not that long ago, as crazy as it is, since my kids are a few years older than yours. I mean, not that it makes a difference, but like having kids kind of like gave me like it's like my purpose in life. Like my purpose at the end all be is like I have this business or businesses now that I'm still trying to grow. Now I have another startup, starting from scratch again. That's all fine and good, and like yeah, it's gonna do what it's gonna do. It's gonna help us to a sort of right. But like my sole purpose at the end of the day is to like my kids, my family.
Hmm.
That's it. Like that's like the pyramid, and like that's what I recently like came to like the epiphany. It's just like, hey, like that's what I'm here for now. It's like to help them like grow into like little humans. Hope they make proper choices, great decisions, and turn out to great great individuals, right? You know, and I'll say this story. So my son plays travel baseball. He's on a team here, and it's not his favorite sport, but he does it. I can't say that who pushes him more to do it, but he had a child, one of his friends on his team that was, I think came halfway into the season. He sees them in school. They're not in the same class, but anyway. And I guess this child got hit by a baseball pitch. And my wife just told me the story the other day. I was like, "Ow,
Ouch.
that's not." A lot of people get hit in baseball, but I guess for whatever reason, this child got hit, and then he was like, "Hey, I don't want to play baseball anymore." He kind of got fear factored into it, and he's like, "I'm done."
Mm.
And my son, we're always trying to like, hey, you gotta be kind to others, always be courteous. And I say the dad thing, stand up for yourself type of thing. Always say that type of stuff. But I'm always
Hmm.
like, be kind. So he's friends with this kid and he sees him in the hallway, I think after the fact that practice had happened or the game and he got hit. And he said, hey, so and so, I think you did a really great job at practice. I just want to let you know. And, he didn't tell my wife or that this happened or occurred. But I think like,
Yeah.
a couple of weeks later, my wife had gotten a text message from the mother saying, hey, just to let you know, my son said so and so, saw him at school and told him this stuff to kind of like, make his ego higher to make him feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, wow, I was blown away by that. Like, hey, my 6 year
Yeah.
old
It's cool.
son, and I had a conversation with him this morning when I saw him. I was like, hey, man, I'm really proud of you for, doing that, for making somebody just feel good. It's a really, and that's what I want to be able to do.
Yeah, 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 100%. Yeah, well, what you said earlier reminded me too of like I remember when Braden was born, he was just like, a little munchkin nugget, and I'm like holding him, and I'm like, oh man, like I just like can't fail. I have to do really well. Like, it's just like business has to do well. Got to work hard. Got to do what you got to do. It's just like it doesn't.
Yeah.
I
So
don't. It just makes it a lot more where you're just like, yeah, I'm doing this. It doesn't matter. There's no like,
so
I do this. I'm doing it.
And you mentioned some before. I talk about it a lot, or you hear everybody like talk about it, like these like so-called gurus and people that like do business coaching, life coaching, work-life balance, right? Whether
Yeah.
you have a full-time job, you're the main person in the nuclear family household, bringing the money, the cheddar in. So in this case, you're an entrepreneur, you're running your business. You know, what do you believe in? Like, is there a balance? Like, is there such a thing? Or do you believe, like, hey, I'm going to spend more time on work this week, and this week I might spend less time with my family and kids. And the following week, like, hey, I'm going to spend more time with my family and my kid. And it kind of is a cycle of life. Like, what is your thought process?
That's what balance means. Like you got to work hard. You got to get stuff done. You got to make money. There's no like. But then there's times where things can be maybe a little more low key, and you can spend more time with them. It's just that's part of the balance. Like there are times where you got to grind and you got to push hard and you got to get stuff done and you're going to work extra hours and your wife's going to be mad at you because you're texting people in the middle of the day when you're kind of hanging with the child, but you're still working anyway.
When your phone's
But
on silent and you're trying not to get text messages?
exactly right. But it's like, listen, I mean, it's like I have to get this done. Like these things have to be done. We have to make money, and but I don't know. It's like you have to make money, but like what I like about doing something I love is that it's not like I think about I have to make money. It's like I need to help as many people as I can with what they want, and like that's all I think about. Like it's not like that's just a thought. It's like okay, how do I help as many people as possible get what they want, and then what I need is just going to come as long as I'm doing that. Like it doesn't. It's not like I need to worry about it. Like I just have to be responsible. I have to be on time. I have to do what I say I'm going to do, and I have to try to help people, especially those people who are willing to and who are working hard towards something. If they ask me for a question and I can help them, I'm going to help them. All right, I'm going to go out of my way to help them as best I can, and I'm going to follow up with them and make sure they're still doing what they said they were going to do.
How does that
And I
make
think
you
it's
feel at the end of the day?
I don't know, fulfilled. Like I have a good gig. I mean, it's great when people get things done and they accomplish things, and you help them. Like it's a beautiful thing, beautiful feeling. And I think too, a big part of everything is I want to set the example for my son. Like my son and whatever kid we have next, I want to make sure like, yeah, I want him to see me for who I'm trying to be. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sometimes we're still trying to figure it out. Others know it like right off
Yeah,
the bat.
yeah. I mean, we're always trying to figure it out, but I just I mean, I've seen myself many times in life, like make excuses. I mean, I'm sure I definitely still do too. But like, you make excuses for why you can't do something that you know you can do. It's just you don't want to put in the extra effort, or you want to do something else that's really not value added for your life. I mean, like drinking, like, oh, I want to go out and drink tonight, so I don't know, I'm gonna mess up tomorrow because I woke up late. Like I remember one time in my old gym, I went out drinking and like barely made it in time to like a seminar we were supposed to be at, and like I was like, oh my god, like I really messed up. Like what was I thinking?
Mm.
But just like I just had to go out, or actually I think I was just going to get one drink, and then it became like eight, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just like stupid things like
You like
that,
wake
and
up and you're like sweating, you like couldn't sleep, had a horrible night's sleep, and then you're just like
yeah, 100%,
feeling
and then oh,
dehydrated and like running off to and feeling more anxious than you ever did because
exactly right.
you're like, hey, I'm doing all
Those
these
are
things.
horrible.
And I think that's well, before what you said before is what I was trying to get you to say earlier in the podcast, about like, your purpose. And you said it, like, right? Like your goal is to like in fitness to help people and you feel good. So I was happy to hear you, come back full circle and say that.
Mhm.
I figured it would come out sooner or later during the
Some
podcast and
point,
it did. Can you
yeah.
remember, this isn't even a question I had written down, but I was curious, like, if there a time that like sticks out, like whether it was like a athletic strength club, or even like whatever the fitness center was prior to athletic strength club, with Jr. Any one of your members, does any one of your members stands out where you like, and you don't have to mention any names, where you'd be like, hey, I know, not even like being pompous, that you helped save somebody's life because they came in and like their health was degraded. Maybe they had diabetes, they were obese, and like they were, you know, whatever it may be. Like, hey, they
Mhm.
came into me and they were kind of on their last whim. They've tried all the fad diets, like, or whatever it might be. Somebody that had any health conditions. Have you run into people or multiple people that you've done that for?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've had situations with much older people who are I mean, I remember a guy who was 70 something, 100 plus pounds overweight. I mean, yeah, definitely 100, maybe 150 pounds overweight, but that guy lost like 100 pounds.
How many?
Got his life better, over 100 pounds.
Wow.
He came in with a cane. He was walking without a cane. So, like, that was amazing. Had a huge impact on it. He still had plenty to go. Um, yeah.
He still
He
trains for you?
still, no, no, not at the moment. I still gotta. I was thinking about him yesterday. Actually, I gotta touch base with him, but we still stay in touch. But he got hurt. I mean,
Okay.
he's in a rough. He came to me when he was in his 70s, and after a lifetime of not taking care of yourself, your 70s can look rougher than they should. Um,
Hmm.
I think he's a great human. I love that guy, but like it's interesting because I also have 70-year-old people who are like in phenomenal shape and like do incredible things, and it's just like that's also a reminder for me, and I think serves as a reminder for people who hear that like, you have these pathways you can lead. You can 70 could be like 90 or 100, or 70 could be like active and fit and doing things and enjoying life. I mean,
And that's what I want.
you got to make
How
decisions.
old do you think you'll be when you'll still be like highly active? Do you still you'll be one of those guys at 70,
I
80?
mean, I think so. I hope 70, 80. I hope 90. I hope 100.
Yeah.
But who knows? The other thing is, sometimes you get dealt a bad hand. You don't know what's going to happen in life. You could be in a. I remember training a lady years ago who came to me, was in like a horrific car accident, and like she was still moving though, still training, still keeping herself healthy, and came to the gym and like worked out. But like she was in rough shape. A lot of her joints were not moving the way they
Mm.
should. But she still keeps pushing. Whereas a lot of people would give up and just be like, I'm just going to lay on the couch. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that you need to keep challenging yourself. When we get older, things get less comfortable, and so we chase more comfort, and that increased comfort that we chase makes us older faster.
Mm.
You have to keep challenging yourself and trying to do hard things.
I mean, listen, that's why I've been training for over 2 decades, like I don't want to be like 60, 70, like kind of like, hey, I can feel it now, but it's like, I'm sore, from like
Yeah.
Tuesday and Wednesday's workout. Like it's a good thing. Like I want
Good
to
thing.
continue to push my body past the limits that I know I can do for my future self. Um, question,
Yeah, exactly.
question. I wanted to ask you whether you're comfortable talking about it or not. I don't even know what your thought is on this topic, but do you believe in faith? Do you believe in God?
Uh, hmm. I mean, yes, but I don't know. It's always a weird question for me.
What's that?
Uh, said that's always a weird question for me. Like I don't.
Like, are you
It's like
like you
I
are
definitely
you like
do.
actively like do you actively like do you go to church? Do you pray? Like, does your
Yeah.
family?
No, I don't actively go to church. I kind of want to, but I still haven't started yet.
Mm,
Like I did when I was younger. I stopped probably when I was 13 or 14.
naturally.
I really, I've read a few of Jordan Peterson's books, and I really like his perspective on like religion, and I've read a lot of religious things, and I don't know. It's hard to not. Part of me really believes like there's something out there. I don't know that I like the way I felt God was defined when I was younger. Because I always just visualize this dude up in a cloud with the beard and stuff, and it's like, I don't know, that feels weird. It feels more like it's just some thing that we're all connected by,
Mm.
some invisible force that we're all connected and to some extent guided by, if you can listen properly. But it's like when you say you're doing something that you're meant to do. It's just, I don't know, your days just feel right. Like you don't feel like at other jobs or doing certain things, you just feel like I'm not supposed to be here. Like I'm supposed to be doing something else, or like
Feel like
this is boring.
robotic.
Yeah, robotic. Like you're just going through motions and you're doing things because you have to do them because you got to keep getting paid because you don't want to live on the street. Versus like, you're not like that. I never think about that now. Like I'm just like, yeah, waking up and going. I wake up at 4 o'clock. And I'm like, oh, this sucks. I'm getting up early. Like I don't care. I'm getting up at 4 o'clock. I'm going to work. Like,
Well,
um,
and like,
not
and I don't. It's I know a lot of it comes to like how you were raised and however your household was. I don't know like what that looked like, and we don't have to go into it, but like
yeah.
fast forward to like the life altering event that were through, in your high
Mhm.
school years probably didn't help with your beliefs in any type of religious faith, right?
Definitely
I
not.
can attest to that. I'm Jewish, and I was bar mitzvah, I went to school and I kind of faded off. But in my household, it wasn't like really stressed that like, hey, we did go to temple like again leading up to my bar mitzvah. Like as far as me and my sister, I'm the only one that like went through the whole process. and it always
Mhm.
stayed with me. But like I lost faith, in God. After my mom died, I was like, "Fuck, there is no God." That's what I said. I hate to
Yeah.
say this, and like that was my belief, and that's why I had that like, hey, I could go at any given minute, any given second, because that's just like where I was in life. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Definitely understand that.
yeah, and like fast forward, and I asked a question. I'm like, I don't really like openly like talk about these things, these like topics on air or on the podcast, even though we're not live, and this will get chopped and edited, but I do believe, now at this stage of the game at my life, with having kids and being married and like running my business and like just seeing the shit that I went through in my life, and for me, and I might get chills talking about it, like I had like a point where I was just like thinking about something and like it was God and like fucking I started getting goosebumps and like I was like, oh, maybe that's what this feeling, this sensation is like where you feel like this greater force other than you, like around you. um, and I got
Yeah. That,
like I start getting like fucking like weird about it, like in a sense, like well, I actually get like emotional talking about it, and that's when I was like, all right, I guess I do believe in God. Like I do believe. Like I've been going through the motions of reading like the original like transcript of Torah. Like it's taken me a lot longer to get through, and I started when I
mhm.
was doing like 75 hard, but I'm almost done, and it's a hard book, like I said, to digest. Um,
Yeah.
it's the fucking old biblical, yeah,
It's written in old, yeah,
yeah. It's like
old style writing.
yeah,
Like, wow,
like I literally have like 100 pages left to like finalize the thing, but that's just something I've been like reading over the past year. Um,
cool, man.
yeah, but like I'm always curious, like with people I know, like hey, if like they do, they do. If they don't, like I said, I was never a believer until I was. It's just like
Yeah.
that feeling that something is something is there. Um,
I also think, I think I liked the line that I heard once where it was like, "Live as if God exists," because, well, one, because I think your life will be better if you live that way, right? Versus thinking,
hmm.
I mean, what do you? I think we need to believe in something, and if you don't believe in religion or God, like you tend to go down a weird path and you start believing in maybe the wrong things.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. So here's like
Or even worse, you believe in nothing. That could be dangerous too.
there's something I think there's something to be said.
Yeah,
If you look at all these people and you talk to people, and I'm not even talking about like the shit that you see online on social media, because you have to be able to read through the lines and
of course.
go through the smoke and mirrors. Like there are people that blindly lead with faith and they give their lives to it, and you can see that they do, and like good things happen when they do. Um, and that's kind of like where I'm going. So going back to like fitness, right? That you're the fitness guy, like being in shape. Like what? How could I say this? There's no easy way to. All right, there's no easy way to get in shape, or is there? And I ask you this, like for me or you, fitness is kind of like I wouldn't say it's firsthand nature. It's just like something we do, and whether like you feel like, hey, I need to get this done, or I'm gonna feel like all out of like my wits, or I'm gonna go freak out if I don't get a workout in today. Like sometimes that's how I feel. Maybe you can attest to
Yeah.
that. And like our diet, you might be more hardcore than I even am, and I'm pretty hardcore, but it's just like I just do it because like, hey, my body is my body, and I want to continue to get to a certain point in my life, and I don't want to I'm not going to shove fast food in my mouth. I can eat grilled chicken. I can eat my rice every fucking meal. I count my macros. I eat the same thing for breakfast for the past decade. I don't, it doesn't, is it boring? I don't think so. It's something that like, hey, I like to wake up. I like to eat X, Y, and Z. And if it doesn't happen, it's not going to throw my day off. But
Mm-hmm.
for somebody that like,
Sort
for somebody that's not in shape but wants to get in shape, is it that hard? Or is it like literally getting out of you're getting out of your own head?
I mean, it can be that hard. You know, what are we? We're talking about habits, and everybody has their own habits.
I guess drinking
You know,
goes hand in hand,
habits.
right? Could be similar if you think about it like that.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, I mean, what you do is easy because you've built it up to be easy, but it wasn't always easy. Like, maybe certain pieces of it were easy, but I can remember times where it was hard to run or hard to eat or hard to not drink or hard to not smoke or
Mm,
hard to, like
It's true.
are hard to like, oh, your friends want to go meet up and grab it, there was times where that's hard to say no. Like, I want to go see those friends, I want to have some laughs.
FOMO.
But it's, what's
I
that?
said FOMO.
FOMO, yeah, FOMO's real. But yeah, sometimes it's hard to prioritize just to what's more important to you at a high level versus what's more important to you at a small level right now, right? Delayed gratification to some extent.
So,
So I think it's.
what do you
I
say
don't
to
think it's
somebody that
complicated.
like is struggling with just trying to make like take the first step? Like, what could someone do? Like, hey, this is how you,
Uh,
this is what you could do to
well,
like get outside your comfort zone without getting outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the reasons you join a gym like this is the community. You need people around you who want to be fit too.
Mm,
If everybody around you doesn't want to be fit, you're not going to be fit. It's just the way it is. If everybody around you drinks alcohol, you're going to drink alcohol. If everybody, it's just the way we are. We're social creatures. So you need people who want to be fit and want to be healthy
mm,
around you. You need to spend time with them because then you're going to do fit, healthy things, fit, healthy, active things. You're going to watch them eating good, healthy food and look at your non-healthy food and be like, oh, why am I eating this? Um, it's just that's really the big part of it, and it's tough because we all have families, and your families have their own habits, and a
sure.
lot of times when you're out of shape and overweight, it's because your family habits. Your family eats certain things, they cook certain ways, they order. Maybe they don't cook, maybe they just order out all the time. That's You can't do that. You're not going to be healthy if you order out all the time. It's just the way it is. Um, so it's really your habits, who you surround yourself with. I don't think it's complicated because I think the main thing is, don't avoid processed food as much as you can. Eat fruits, vegetables, meats, beans, stuff like that.
Mm,
Eat healthy fats, avocados, olive oils, those types of things. So yeah, basically eat high protein, high vegetable, good fats, healthy carbs. Try to stay out of the middle of the grocery aisle with all the boxed items, and try to move as often as you can. Literally as often as you can. Walk as often as you can. Hike, climb, squat, deadlift, whatever draws you in.
yeah.
Go get that stuff done as often as you possibly can. Don't sit around. We're not meant to sit around. That's why when you sit, you're in more pain. Your body hurts more. You get weak. Your joints get tighter.
Stiff.
Like,
Yeah.
you get stiff. We're not supposed to sit still. The older you get, the more you want to sit still, and then that makes you older even faster. Like, you just can't do that.
So, I mean, like, all right. So let's say the easiest prognosis for anybody that's not working out today, right? Somebody that's like, hey, I want to start, but like I'm apprehensive to go to your gym. Not that they would
Mhm.
be because your gym is amazing, but for somebody that is just like, hey, I'm on the fence. What could I do to just like do my steps? Is like 10,000 steps a day a thing? Is that going to help you like get more in shape? Like three times a week? Is that a start?
6,000 minimum steps per day.
Six.
Honestly, you should try to get to 8, 10, or 12. I think the benefits cap off at 15,000 if I remember correctly.
Hmm,
15,000 steps per day is like, you don't get much additional benefit from going over that, but you should be getting at least 6,000 up to 15 additional benefit
six
from
to
going over
15.
that. But you should be getting at least 6,000 up to 15,000 a day would be phenomenal. 6 to 15. 6 is your bare minimum.
So
Um,
now you brought up.
so
You brought,
walk a lot of miles every day.
I'm so sorry. What was that?
So walk a lot of miles every day because 15,000 is a lot of miles.
Right.
It's close to 10. It might be close to 10. It might be over 10.
You, you know what?
Don't remember the
You
exact
know,
number.
don't watch an episode of Netflix. Get outside wherever you are.
No, yeah. There's another, I mean, I think there's also a lot of cultural, societal things that, like, people watch entire seasons of shows, like, and like, I get it. It's nice. It's comfortable. You're hanging out. The show's entertaining. It makes you forget about stuff, but it's not good for you. It doesn't help you. It doesn't get you anywhere better in life.
Hmm.
Um, Gives you something to talk about with your friends, maybe, but
Now,
I don't know. I haven't watched anything in a while, so I'm biased too.
I mean,
But I
I'm
used to.
listen. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes my brain is so fried. I'm like, I need to like turn. You know, this is late at night after I've done my shit. I'm like, I'm all right. I need to like turn something on.
Yeah,
I need
I
to.
hear you.
I need to like.
Yeah, I still play video games occasionally, but like maybe a half hour, once every. I don't know. Feels like it's every
No,
2
you're
weeks
fine,
these
man.
days.
I mean, because like probably like you're me, like where you feel guilty if you were to do that because you could be spending that time doing something else.
Yeah. Partway through, I just started thinking about, like, I don't think I've done this. I haven't done this. I got to do this. I could have gone for a run. Why did I do that? Like, I would have rather gone for a run or gone for a hike or bike ride, or
Yeah.
I would have rather. And then, like, I'll look at myself towards the end of the day. Like, I didn't really do that much activity today because I took my one free time,
Yeah.
and if I needed it, okay. But I feel like most of the time I didn't need it. was just either a moment of weakness or me being lazy.
I mean, listen, you're human. You got to unwind a little bit here and there. It's not like horrible for you, Rob. So,
I agree, but I think I unwind when I ride my mountain bike too, and when I go for a run, like I feel pretty much unwound from that. Like it helps, and it unwinds me without me feeling guilty about the fact that I didn't do it, or not even. It's I don't even know if it's guilt sometimes. Sometimes I'm just annoyed. Like why did I do that? Like there was really no reason to do that. I wasn't that tired. Like
you're not the only one that feels like that. So, I get it.
and sometimes it's like I feel like that, but it's like I don't know. 10 minutes into the run, I'm like, man, I'm really glad I came out here. The first few steps were tough, but like I'm pumped to be here right now.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have the best workouts when you feel like that.
Exactly right. Yeah.
So now you mentioned something, we'll end on this. So going back to like, taking the initial things like, hey, this is what you should do if like you can't get to a gym. Now, let's say you are part of a family that eats out all the time and you don't have a choice. Like, I know it sounds terrible, but like, all right, like it's not hard to make eggs, but like whatever. Maybe there's some people that just eat out every day. If you're gonna eat out every day, do you have like any general like rule of thumb? Like, all right, if it you have to eat out, only try to stick with A, B, and C. Like, is there anything that you would suggest, or are you gonna not want to kind of hit
I
that?
can go there. Yeah. I mean, definitely. You're looking, like I just said, you prioritize protein, you prioritize vegetables, and you prioritize healthy fats. Um, Carbs, you're going to want to come from ideally potatoes, but rice is okay too. But you have to depends on where you're eating out because some places you really don't have a lot of options. But you're basically looking to do that. What's the leanest protein I can get on the menu? If there's no lean protein options, at least get something high protein. Um, and so, like, don't go to the pasta section and say, I'm just going to eat a giant bowl of pasta every single day and this is going to be my only meal. Like, I don't think that's a good idea. Unless you are extremely active, then okay, maybe you can get away with that.
Hmm.
But probably not the best idea. I mean, you need micronutrients, which you get from fruits and vegetables. So you're trying to get as much fruits and veggies in as you can, and you need protein to maintain muscle density, muscle mass. So try to get that protein in.
Can you
And
can
you
you
need fiber to keep your gut healthy.
Can you give like a mental picture, like with your hand, like, hey, this is how much protein you should be eating. This is how much carb you should be eating. Like, do you have that? In-
Yeah, guys are two palm-sized portions of protein per meal. Ladies are one palm-sized portion of protein per meal. Um, two thumbs of healthy fats for guys. So like I don't know, it might be a little handful of nuts or two handfuls of nuts. This is a general rule. It depends on who you are, but generally your hand is going to be bigger if you're a larger person. So it covers the larger amount of food you're going to need.
Hmm,
Cupped handfuls for carbs. Vegetables should be like a full hand-sized portion. Two for guys. It's always double for guys and
hmm.
single for ladies.
And
So
that's per meal.
per meal.
Yep.
I mean, obviously there's variance here. If you only eat 2 meals a day, you might need to up it a little bit. If you're eating
Sure.
3 meals, you're probably good. If you're eating 4 meals, you're probably good with those numbers. If you're gaining weight from eating like that, then you need to eat a little less if your goal is not to gain weight. If you want to gain weight, then you obviously need to eat a little more. Um, there's all kinds of variables here. Do we
Yeah.
want to gain weight? Do we want to lose weight? Do we want to stay the same? How big are you? How small? There's a lot.
Sure.
How active? But those are general guidelines.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, man. And I think everyone listening too will. Well, I think we're out of time, but I just want to, Rob, thanks for being on this episode of the Fit for Business podcast. And then, hey guys, so if you're not following us on YouTube, if you can go ahead and tap that subscribe button. And as always, if you're listening on Spotify, hit that follow button. We'll see you next week.